What's up, peeps? How are y'all doing tonight? Baby, welcome to another episode of Healthy Living and Wine. I'm your host, JQue, and this podcast is all about curating the balance between wellness and wine through culture and conversation. Listen, tonight's episode is one that might hit a little close to home. Being unlabeled and unapologetic. That's right. We're exploring the pressure to be extraordinary and what it really means to exist without titles, without achievements, without expectations. You know, those type of expectations that tend to define us. So, before we dive in, grab yourself a glass of wine. Comment what you're sipping on. I want to take this moment to shout out tonight's sponsor, Mocktails for Mama. Let me tell you a little bit about Mocktails for Mama. They are all about keeping the celebration with every sip, with or without alcohol. That's right. Mocktails for Mama is a non-alcoholic brand that brings the same bold flavors and the beautiful presentation, smells, and intensities. They remind us that with every pour, you can still be full of connection and joy and style without alcohol. So, I want you to know that if you'll be joining us at the Healthy Living and Wine live experience, which happens on October the 11th, you'll actually get the chance to taste Mocktails for Mommy for yourself. And trust me, you're going to love it. Tickets are available at eventbrite.com. And if you don't have a chance to join us that day, Mocktails for Mommy is available in Sam's and Walmart locations in Huntsville, Alabama. So cheers. Raise your glass to Mocktails for Mama for helping us keep the vibe flowing and every glass intentional. Cheers. Now, let's take a breath and get into it tonight because there is a strong mix of energy in this room tonight. And I'm really excited about where this conversation is going to take us. So, without further ado, baby, I'm bringing the guest in the room. And the first person I'd like to bring into the room tonight is Gabby. Hey, Gabby, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, JQue. How are you?
Oh, I'm super dope, Gabby. So, everyone can read your bio. They're excited about you being here tonight. And instead of let's talking about who you are as far as your titles and what you do, let's answer this question. If you had to describe yourself in one word, not a title, just a word, what would that one word be?
It'd be compassionate.
Ooh, compassionate. Oh my God. I love that. You seem like when I first met you, you're very soft and quiet in the corner. And I was like, oh, wow. Because we were at a silent book club meeting, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. So I think compassionate really matches you well. Welcome to the show, Gabby. Thank you for joining us. Next, I'm bringing Miss Kristen. Kristen, let me just tell you, I don't know Kristen as far as face-to-face. But what I do know about Miss Kristen is that, baby, she is the most organized person I probably have met online ever. And I'm super excited to meet her face-to-face. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Hi, great to be here.
Oh, yes. So without your organizing titles and all the things that you do, how would you describe yourself in one word? Just one. What would it be?
I would say intentional.
Ooh, me too. I think I fall in the lines of being intentional because I feel like everything I do has a purpose or a reason. I'm just not out here willy-dillying for nothing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for joining us and welcome to the show. Next, I'm bringing on Shelby. Baby, let me tell you, Shelby and I are internet friends. When I tell you internet Instagram homies, we homies on the Instagram. So I'm so excited to have you here tonight. Shelby, unmute yourself and we can read all about you. And you have all the titles and all the acclimates and all that. So removing all of that, what is the one word that you would use to describe yourself that is not a title, an acclimate, or an achievement?
Enthusiastic.
Oh, baby, that is so true. That is so true. Everything about you represents your enthusiasm, especially online, especially in your photos. It's always a cute, enthusiastic pose, or to the left side or to the right side. I love that about you. I love that. And I think that's a great word that describes you really well. Welcome to the show. All right, I'm bringing on Chantel next. Hey, Miss Chantel, how are you?
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you in the room tonight. Chantel and I met at Black Writers Weekend.
We did.
And we did an impromptu interview at Black Writers Weekend. And oh my God, the contributions that you are making to the world of autism and authorship are amazeballs, right?
Thank you.
But without all of that, without being a great mom and all the titles that you hold, what would be the one word that you would describe or would mean for you?
I'm going to go with grounded.
Ooh, I guess that would definitely have to be a part of who you are and what you do, especially in the realm of what you're doing with autism. You got to be grounded in that, right?
Absolutely.
Woo, absolutely. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And last but not least, baby, we got to have some male energy up in here, right? So welcome, Daryl. Woo, 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 woo. I'm so excited to have you tonight. Listen, Daryl and I are media buddies. We love the camera. Hey, I love to be in front of it, and he likes to click behind it. So, Daryl, what would be the one word, if you had to remove all of your titles, what would be the one word that would describe who you are?
Without a doubt, loyal.
Ooh, loyal. And that is a word that people kind of like throw around and don't always have the true meaning of what loyal is. So I'm really excited to dive into what that means tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about it. So, guys, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Healthy Living in Wine, Unlabelled and Unapologetic. And I like everything that you guys have said tonight. I think all the answers say a lot about how you see yourselves, right? But let's open this up and get into our first topic. Our first topic is, the fear of being average. Exactly. The fear of being average. Average is like that quiet pressure to always stand out, right? It's like the always outdo yourself on the last version of yourself. I got to level up. I got to get better. Somewhere along the way, though, I think that simply being stopped feeling like it was enough. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't any shade, but I grew up with a gifted child of an older sister. And so I was always, I don't want to say always because that's a strong word, but, I felt this insecurity at, not, having A's and B's and not all A's. And it was just really exhausting, just putting my own self through that, not recognizing the struggles my sister has gone through, but also just maybe recognizing that, it's okay, one, to just, like you said, to just be. When we philosophically just think about ourselves, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like your titles, oh, you're the smartest, oh, you're the prettiest. It shouldn't matter, it should just be that, you know what I mean? I'm a person, God created me. Not throw religion into this, but you know what I mean? Like, your essence isn't, like you said, it's not your titles, it's not your accomplishments, so this is definitely something I feel deeply about.
Wow. I understand, what that means, but when did being enough start to feel like it wasn't enough? how as a society, that when we look at what we do and how we are, for either one of you, how did that stop being enough? Just waking up and being Shelby, just waking up and being Daryl. When did that kind of stop being enough for society or how we looked at ourselves?
I think that I think social media plays a big part of that. I think being able to look into so many people's lives, and well, to think that you can look into so many people's lives. I think the comparison. You're seeing people every day and you're comparing yourself and you're saying, I'm not doing enough. When in reality, you really don't know exactly, what their processes are, and how they're where they're at. So I think social media, just the access to other people's lives, I think that that's a big contributor to us, feeling like, oh, we're not enough.
Wow. That is so true, because I think every person has their own definition of what average is, or what we feel extraordinary is, or even what we feel like we're always trying to level up, do better, do more, outdo versions of our own selves.
Mm-hmm.
How do we even define what average is, or how do we get away from feeling guilty about even being average? Because isn't it okay to be average, or is it not okay anymore?
Well, I think it's okay to be you, and if that doesn't
Yes.
propel you to some extraordinary height, society wise, I think it's okay just to be you. And once you learn that it's okay just to be you, live in your own skin, don't care about what others think, um, you actually, with just being yourself, start to become above average because you're living your best you. You'll be surprised how many people gravitate to something like that.
Oh, that is so true. I definitely believe that. I sat here when I got this topic, and I tried to define what I felt like was extraordinary, or if I had even reached extraordinary in my life, and if when I reached it, how did I feel about it? And I was like, wow, what have I done that I would consider extraordinary? Even do I have anything in my life that I would feel extraordinary about? Because I was basing it on what society says
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
extraordinary, right? Going on the internet to see what Hubu did and Shibi did, to
Yeah.
see, if society deems that extraordinary. How do we define extraordinary, or how would you, Shelby, how would you define extraordinary for yourself?
Yeah, so I was just thinking about that because I was thinking whenever I have to combat some of that discernment of, oh, am I doing enough? Is there the next best thing? Anything like that. I've tried to learn how to say, okay, is this from a place of me this would further me into my well-being, or this is me comparing myself? And I think the way I've tried to start thinking about it is, oh, is this for me? My extraordinary is starting to become more and more about well-being.
Ooh,
If my well-being is being matched or pursued, then I feel like that would be what my extraordinary would be.
I think as a society, we should definitely get more comfortable with defining what that means for ourselves. One of our previous episodes, everybody was like, success is this and success is that and this and that and the other, because we define success on our own terms. But I think that extraordinary is something as well that we should define on our own terms. Has there ever been a time where you actually reached an extraordinary moment, and then your feeling was like, wait a minute, is this how I'm supposed to feel when I get to be extraordinary, Christina?
Well, yes, I feel like, I've had some achievements throughout my life, and you reach those and you sit back, and yeah, internally, I think it's a separate feeling from looking for external validation. I think that's, you know, something that I've definitely worked through over the years, and not seeking that, and just being proud of myself. Yeah,
Do
still a
you
work in
guys,
progress,
I
but
feel you on that, girl. I'm still a work in progress too. You know, Chantel, you were right about the society and social media.
Mhm.
But even still, when we compare that, how do we actually feel when we reach that extraordinary? Are we, I know for me, I'm going to put myself out there and say, you know, when I reach that goal, and as soon as I reach that goal, the moment is shortly lived, because as soon as I reach that goal, I'm like, okay, now that I got this, I got to go do that. Now that I get this, gotta go do that. You know, but and so where is the cap? Where is the space where when you get to that extraordinary moment, you're like, "Whoo, I am extraordinary," or is there that pressure to continue leveling up, as the trending term says? You know, I mean, how do we navigate that?
Personally, I'll piggyback off of what you said. I think that you do you do get that moment, and it is very short-lived for most of us. We get that moment when I published, I was like, my God, I really did this. It was not in my bingo cards, but I did this. But it was short-lived, because then it was like, what's next? Like you said. And honestly, the cap, I don't, for me personally, I think that for me, the cap is when I know that I've helped enough people.
That is good.
That's for me. And I don't even know then if it will be the cap, because that's the cap is like, doesn't even exist. I don't
I
even want
know.
to sit here and say that.
It's like
Because I
I don't
don't
think it
know.
exists. I have no idea, because every time I
Yeah.
reach that point, it's like I got to be like, okay, I'm on to the next one. Is it retirement? Because listen,
There you go.
my
That's the
dad
cap.
has not
Retirement is
passed
the
the
cap.
gap. I don't know, because in this day and age, retirement's not the cap. When you retire, now you're moving on to do the next thing. You know, you got to live. You got to have this. I want to
Yeah.
travel. I want to do that. My dad is 75. He's retired twice over, and he still doesn't have a cap. He's, you know, he has this week. I got to do this. Okay, I've accomplished this. Then I want to do the next thing, and then I've accomplished this. Has society driven us to always being on to the next thing?
I think if you, um, I think your cap is just simply where you have your own goals set. As long as you're not doing things for, ulterior motives, for, as they say, cloud or anything like that. If it's just something that you're good at, something that you enjoy, um, like I'm going to keep snapping pictures until my finger doesn't work anymore. It's something I enjoy. It's something that I couldn't ever see there being. I can never take a picture and I'd be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm so good. I can quit. It's never going to be that for me. And that's probably, I'm sure, what most people's sentiment is, that, you know, if it's your passion and it's something that drives you, no matter what it is, I don't see why you would put a cap on it, especially when you're doing things to uplift and help, society. I'm not going with a cap.
Yeah, see, that's why I say I don't know if I have one, because my
I don't think you
goals,
should.
yeah, I don't think we should either. But society tells us that we should reach this point. And once we reach this point, like, where are we supposed to go next? There's a dot, period. Oh, you got that. Now you got to do something else. Or, oh, you reached that. Now what you going to do next? You know, there's always that next question, or why do we always have to be moving to the next? Why do we always have to be living extraordinary? Why does it always have to be an achievement? I got to get this award, I got to get all the money. Why is it so hard for us in this culture, current evolution, just to be? Yeah, everybody's silent on that, because it's a hard question. It is very, very hard. I think it's wild how often we measure ourselves by movement instead of by meaning. And when we choose to slow down, it makes us look like what are we really driving for? which actually brings us to the next question. Who are we without the labels? When we fall off the side, or when we're not being the cameraman, or when we're not the author per se, who are we when we don't have titles? When you go somewhere and somebody says, hey, who are you? And you be like, oh, yes, I'm JQue, and I'm an author, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. Why do we always introduce ourselves with the titles or with what we do?
There's a lot of stuff in that, but I can say, like, a quick, easy little answer is that Americans often identify themselves. I've heard this. Like, Europeans don't go, oh, I'm John and I'm a banker. You know, they don't go, I'm Gabby, not an author. I'm John, I'm Gabby. And I think maybe in that way, it's very much also just a society thing. So even talking about that, I've been thinking about it is, you know, last week I published my novel. I had my book launch. And this week I'm like, I just want to sit on the couch and play video games. And when I'm done playing video games, I will then concentrate on the next step I'm supposed to plan. And I think that's just very much a society thing. Like, I've had family members before. I'm like, I published a book. And the next they're like, so what are you going to do now? It's like, revel in the fact I published a book before I, you know, pick something out. But, you know,
before you go on to the next thing. But we still end up going on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know that I tend to introduce myself by what I do, you know, because it's so hard to sit around and say, oh, I'm JQue, and I'm energetic, and I'm charismatic, and you know what? I this and I that. It is so hard to introduce ourselves by the characteristics of who we are versus what we do or the titles that we hold. I mean, have you ever been in a situation with someone and they ask, oh, so what do you do? I know you have, because that's what most people do. You go to a mixer or a mingle, that is all they say. Oh, I've been wanting to meet you. What you do? Well, is it really all about what I do or who I am? I mean, I don't get that. I think that, like Gabby said, we have lost the art of getting to know people beyond their titles. Have either of you ever felt like your title gave you the confidence that you naturally didn't have within yourself? Silence on the board.
Personally, I have imposter syndrome, so no.
Well, still, it's like doing something gives you confidence, right? Right. But when you're not doing anything, do we have the confidence to do that thing, or do we get the confidence from doing that thing? Jump right on in, anybody.
I think we get the for me. Sorry, Daryl.
No,
for me, I think we get the confidence when we do things, and I'll use you know how we make the Black Writers Weekend.
Yes.
Me becoming an author opened that door, and I'm actually a very introverted person. So me becoming an author has pushed me to kind of not be so introverted and go into those rooms and those spaces where I now belong. Did I belong there before? Probably, because I had the knowledge. So yeah, I still went into those rooms, but I think the titles, they do give you more confidence to go into those rooms.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, considering, like you said, before I published my first book, I never would have even considered myself going to a writer's conference as a writer. But then when I accomplished the thing, it made me feel like now I could carry the title. But why couldn't I be a writer even if I wasn't published?
Very well could have. Absolutely.
Very well could have, right? I mean, has there ever been a title or a role in your life that has been the hardest for you to carry? And if there was, why? I have one, but I'd love to hear if you guys have ever had a title or a role that you had to do in your life that was really hard. You not saying that you couldn't do it, but one that you had to carry that was really hard. And why was it? Kristen, what about you?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Oh wow,
I'm gonna
man.
give it some thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you one, and maybe it'll make stimulate. Mom. Being a mom was probably the hardest title that I had to carry, and that's because I didn't know what the freak I was doing. You know, I had this kid. I'm a single mom. You're calling me mom, but you know, you get so many different definitions of what a mom is and how to raise your kid and if you're a good one or if you're a lazy one. And it was like, oh my God, this is my title and I have to do this. But I didn't become a confident mom till my daughter was almost 10 years old. And even now, she's 35, I'm still navigating the mom title. So what about you guys? Now that I've given you an example, there's got to be some title that you did, or maybe a job you worked, or something that was hard for you to carry. Not saying that you didn't, but even a little resistant about carrying that title. No?
Parent would definitely be one.
Yeah, being a parent, I think, is hard.
It's definitely not easy at times. Rewarding, but definitely not easy.
Yeah, rewarding, but definitely not easy.
Yeah.
What was one of the things about becoming a parent for you, Daryl, that was like a struggle? Was it
the unknown? Like many parents, just not knowing, especially even before they get here, the fears you have of, is my child going to be healthy? Am I going to have to deal with something? Are they? Am I going to, love them properly, or am I going to traumatize them? All the things that I'm sure many parents have may have had concerns with before they get here. But the good thing is you soon learn that, with a little bit of reading and advice from some people you may have had in your life, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's definitely something that you gotta, commit to and really jump into, because it's no, as I'm sure you know, there's no break, there's no turning it off, even when they get older. My daughter's 18 now, and it's not, it's still, it's I don't gotta get her dressed anymore, but you
still gotta navigate
be there
it
when she needs dad. You still gotta be there and show up. So it's a lifelong thing, and it's one that I do wear proudly, but it's definitely not easy.
Wow. I feel the same way. I think, like I said, my daughter's 35, and even navigating a grown child as a mom, that's a title that will never change. It's with me forever, right? And whether I like it or not, I'm still mama. And I got to navigate it. I have to navigate it. Do you think that titles give us structure, or do they limit our growth?
I think it's a little bit of, sorry, go ahead, Shelly.
You can go.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it's a little bit of both, I think, because you get the structure with, say it's your title's like your job, like, oh, I'm an author, right? That means I give myself structure of, here's when I write, here's when I, do my chores around the house, here's when I plan this, here's when I write this. But then they can also be really limiting too, like just talking about titles and roles. You have me thinking, JQue, about back when I was in college. And I think maybe that was one of the hardest titles I've had, because I was double majoring. And so I remember almost wanting to give up. One of my majors was philosophy. I remember almost wanting to give up taking this logic class, just because I was like, I can't do this. This is just like extreme math. How am I going to handle this? And
yes.
Going even further back to you talking about expectations and how people are always on the go. The struggle there too, at the Tri campus I was at, was that it was like a badge of honor to be more and more stressed and or struggling. So like, I got a bachelor's of arts, but like I'd have these friends in like the sciences who would be like, yeah, well, I was in the lab all day, or I would just feel bad talking to my nursing roommate because she, like, for her major, she had like 60 credit hours, and mine combined communication studies and philosophies was 57 credit hours. So like there's like this weird assertion there, and it was just like just thinking about that and thinking about like labels, like, oh, you're in the School of Arts, you're in the School of Music, you're in the School of Engineering, you're in the School of Sciences. It's just like silly because everybody is stressed out and sleep deprived and poor in college. What I mean? Just because you have to read Hamlet or you have to, be in a lab, that just like you're studying different things, but you're both putting in the same amount of work. And so there is just some silly label there when we look at, again, when we compare careers or where we are in our life with having kids and getting married and, getting
All the
whatever your
things.
dreams. Like, there's a point where it's like, okay, these labels are stupid that you put yourself on. You shouldn't worry about it. So.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I feel like titles do give us confidence. They do give us structure. But I also feel like there's sometimes it's hard to separate who you are from what you do. It's like, Kristen, you're an organizer. Do you find yourself being an organizer and then organizing everything in your life?
Yeah. Sometimes, I'm slacking in that department personally. So yeah, it is interesting. It's, what I'm projecting, what I'm putting out there is it can definitely vary, for what's actually going on at home. Yeah.
Do people associate you as an organizer with being the person who always has it all together?
Yes, but I will happily get on social media and let people know I don't. So I try to be real. I try to have my, I tell my clients all the time, you're real, I'm real, I'm a real person. Things get out of hand. And yeah, because I really don't want to come off as having everything perfect. I don't want to be on social media like with this perfect feed, giving them this, sense of where they're, judging themselves for not being that, because that's just it's not attainable.
Yeah, I know what you feel. I know what you mean. People always give you, based on what they think you do, they always assume that is also who you are. The title that people associate you with, if you had to, people had to associate you with one of your titles, which one would you no longer want to associate with who you are if that wasn't what you did anymore? I know that's a hard question. It took me a few minutes to think about that too.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm too entangled with my titles.
Ooh, so that's exactly what this whole research thing did for me. It was like, oh my God. I go to my bio and I read my bio and it's like this, and she did that, and she does this, and here's all her acclimates, and da-da-da-da, and this, that, and the other. And then the last sentence says, she's a passionate person who really loves doing hiking, da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, gosh, it took 3 paragraphs for me to explain my titles, what I did. And it only, one sentence about who I am. Wow. This whole, I'm telling you, the research on this really even opened up my mind, my light bulb in my brain. Shelby, what about you? You hold a lot of titles as well. You're multifaceted. How would it be for you if you had to remove all of your titles? What would people know, or how would people know about you?
Ooh. I still think, like, kind of back to my original word, enthusiasm. I think pretty much anything I get interested in, I get pretty enthusiastic about it. Like, let's talk about this, or have you seen, and did it, so I think that part would always go with me.
Okay.
And I kind of like thinking about that even with my work and titles. But I do like what you're saying. Like, why does it have to be the ending? Like, can we flip it where I start with, I'm really enthusiastic, so whatever I'm working with you on, just know if you're looking for somebody who's just going to be like excited about everything, or start to like really go down a rabbit hole to get to the point we need to, whatever it is, the enthusiasm, if you want somebody, with nonchalant, then I'm your person. So I think what I do like that, though, of that being more up at the top, like, okay, this is the energy that's going to be throughout whatever it is. I think that would be a good way to switch it and sort of be introductory with.
Yeah, I think that too. I think characteristics run with us, but I still feel like, people look at you and they don't even want to validate who you are until they know what you do. You know, balancing who you are with what you do. People associate you with your titles. If they think you're an entrepreneur, then they automatically feel like you're a boss. You have, you know, your whole schedule together. You're doing all of these things. You have all the money in the world. You know, you're well organized just because you title yourself as an entrepreneur. You know, so characteristics are separate from what you do. And your identity is not always found in your ambition. But how do we balance that? How do we balance who we are with what we do and how we present that to the world?
I think one interesting thing, even just sitting here as we're talking about titles, I was sitting here running in my head. I'm like, how many titles could I potentially go by? Whether it's simply, like we said, parent or dad, to one person, to another person, I'm a friend, to another person, I'm a cousin, another person, I'm a son, to another person, I'm a brother. Titles. If you grew up in any type of religious household, you might, you know, fashion yourself whatever religion that is, Christian or whatever. Another title. If you have a job, you're an employee. If you're a business owner, you're business owner. I'm like, goodness, you got a lot of titles that we do kind of put on ourselves based off of what we do. I think it's interesting though, if you're asking those people that I kind of mentioned, like I said at the beginning, if describe myself, which is being loyal, it would be interesting to ask all these different people, how do they see you from these different aspects and different titles that you do have pertaining to, who you're talking to. Like I said, the list kind of goes on and on. Yeah, I'm a photographer and videographer, more titles, but the title, I guess, doesn't define you per se, but how you're looked at as a person to the people that you deal with and around in your circle. It's just interesting to me that just sitting here thinking like, we all have a lot of titles that we could potentially go by. But it's a very interesting question of, does it define you? I guess to an extent, but I would like to think that the people I've dealt with, they'll all say that, no, he's a pretty loyal guy. He's a pretty stand-up guy, which I think is the case. I've been out with people and it might be somebody from work and it's always the same type of energy. When they see me, oh, Daryl, hey, how you doing, man? It's never anything like, oh, this guy, I don't know about this Daryl guy. It's usually always positive, so I would like to think that is the case. I hope it is, but
that is the case.
It's a lot of titles if you start to think about it that we have, and it definitely gets interesting. When,
it does.
Sitting here thinking about how many titles we potentially could have based off of just the things we do.
Just the things we do. That's why I said, I was like, oh my gosh, when I was presented with this topic, and most of the topics come from interactive questions and surveys and different things from audience members or previous episodes that, may have sparked a conversation or some type of light bulb. And titles, man, this had a long feed of questions and feedback. One of the things I also wanted, and this was a particular question from one of our audience members. It says that, what's one label you've decided to release or redefine for yourself? A title that you decided to release, whether you released it now or back in the day, or a title that you redefined for yourself. Chantel, what about you?
I'm going to go with, for me, go-to person.
Ooh.
I've been that person my entire adult life, even before my adult life. I've always been the go-to person, not just personal life as well as professional. I've always just been that go-to person. And I think, when we hit certain age markers, sometimes those things kick in where we're like, I'm no longer being this. And it was 40 for me, where I was like, I'm no longer being the go-to person for everybody. And that's just kind of how that went. And And I do find joy in being the go-to person because that makes me feel like, people respect me. They believe I'm knowledgeable. They believe I'll get things done correctly. And I do love that. But at some point, it got overwhelming for me. And I released that. And now I still am the go-to person, but only for things that I want to do. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
A go-to person for the things that you want to do.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
That's it. What about you, Kristen? Is there anything in any title that you let go of? That you was like, you know what? I don't want to be this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this. I don't want even people to call on me for this anymore.
Yeah, mine is people pleaser. That's definitely something that took many years. And it feels great. It feels great not to be doing for the validation of others. Looking for that.
Yeah, I understand the validation of others because that was a major thing for me in my 20s and 30s. That was one of the reasons why it was so hard for me to accept or deal or fall into the mom title, because I was a major people pleaser in my 20s and 30s. I'm a PK. We talk about religion. I'm a preacher's kid. Grew up, and I'm still a preacher's kid. My mom is still a preacher, a pastor, actively in the community. But it was something that was so hard for me to let go, because I was raised not to be a people pleaser in per se, worrying about what others think, but always having to worry about how people saw our family, especially being, in the pulpit. Mom was always like, you cannot put that on. You cannot, walk that way, because someone is always looking. It was always somebody watching or someone trying to find something negative, to bring her down. And so people pleasing was a huge title and role. Like you, Kristen, I had to learn to let go of people pleasing. And Chantel, it was like 41 for me. When I turned 41, I was like, look, I don't care who likes it and who doesn't like it.
Absolutely.
Because that is a very, very, very hard title. Very hard title to carry. Shelby, what about you?
So yeah, recently, so I was late diagnosed high functioning autism, and I'm like, well, it made my whole life make so much sense, but in a way, it's been challenging to figure out how to incorporate, how to, I don't know, use it for good change, but then also realize it's also feel like it's okay to not pretend or mask, as they call it, so much. And I have recently, just in the past like year or so, been a lot more comfortable saying it's not unmasking to just do whatever you want, but can I kind of take away that extra step of a little bit of that people pleasing? Can I take away that extra step of what I think the formula is for being a person, and just say, oh, this is how my body is feeling, and so I've got to do something about that. Like I've really tried. I think something I've dropped off is saying, ignoring my body and like my nervous system, and saying, okay, no, my body is telling me I need to do something about this. And I need to learn how to do that well, but I don't need to act normal, so to speak, to deny that part of getting that together. So unmasking in that way has been something I've dropped masking, I guess. So, and that book, the book Chantel has, I really need that book, actually. I think. Now, I wish I had it.
It's on Amazon.
I'm going to look it up because I wish my parents had it. I wish I had it, and I would love to refer other parents.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I was just getting ready to say, you and Chantel need to connect, but
yes.
baby,
As soon as she said it, I was like,
I know. She is all the way deep into that world, baby. Deep into that world. So listen, guys, I have one last question that I want to ask. What is something that people wouldn't know about you if they didn't know your title? Daryl?
One thing, if they didn't know about me, I'm a big nerd.
Oh, snap. I knew
I'm
that.
a huge nerdy nerd. Like, I love all things sci-fi, space, deep ocean, pop culture, comic books, all that. Even, like I said, I guess, see, like in high school, so I've been doing photography since high school. I was the kid walking around with the camera around his neck, snapping pictures all the time. So it's been a passion for me. I remember being in high school, I had a digital camera. Now, of course, we all know what a digital camera is, but I was in high school in 1997, 98. This was a phenom at this time. I was able to take a picture and then turn the camera around and show people what they were like.
Oh, yes,
That's
that
always been like my
was.
thing. So I mean, this thing was huge too. It can only take like 25 pictures at a time. It was crazy. We're talking about the 90s. It's funny what we could do with just a little phone now, but back
Yes.
then it was definitely a novelty. So I've always just been very into stuff like that, been nerdy. So if you don't really know me or you maybe go by a title, I might look like the cool photographer, which I'm not. I definitely don't go by the cool photographer is not my title. But definitely I love my nerdy stuff, man. I love it.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I think you could pass title for a cool photographer just based on your sunglasses and your look tonight. I think so. Girls, what do you think? Could he carry the title of cool photographer?
Oh yeah, sunglasses. So like,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
wear some
yes,
sunglasses at night.
It was a debate. When I saw the title of this show and it said, living your authentic self, there's no reason why. My eyes aren't sensitive right now. I just wanted to wear them. You just got to be yourself
that's
sometimes.
right.
So,
You just got to
cool.
do what you want to do sometimes.
Exactly.
Yes. Gabby, what about you? What if people didn't know anything about your titles? What wouldn't they know? Something they wouldn't know about you if they didn't know your title.
I don't think people would know I'm like pretty funny and sarcastic. Because it's very much something I write into my stories, even like just in my narration, is trying to make a joke, make something light of humor, even if there's like a dark moment. And I know when I talk to people, I come across very like introverted and shy because I'm a little shy. So that's what I'd probably say, Like, I like to crack the jokes. I wait for the moments to crack the joke as soon as I know how like comfortable someone is with humor, So.
No, Gabby's a comedian. Nobody knows that Gabby is a comedian. All right, Gabby, get your joke ready because we're going to test you tonight, girl. Richard, what about you? What would be something that people wouldn't know about you if they didn't know that you were America's greatest organizer?
I would say they wouldn't know I'm pretty introverted. I'm pretty shy. And that's not something that you would see from the outside. When I tell people that, they're really surprised. Because, I'm in people's homes. I'm having these really deep relationships, but I'm also out networking and out in the city, just doing all the things. But deep down, I'm pretty shy and introverted.
Okay. Well, you're right. I would not have known that based even just on your social media, because you're right. You're everywhere, especially in people's home, like deep in their house, organizing and in their stuff. And to me, it seems like an organizer, somebody that's doing that for other people, has to be a good relationship and somebody that's really good around people, right? So yeah, that definitely would be. Shelby, what about you, girl? If you didn't have all these titles, what would be something somebody would not know about you?
Yeah, I think, especially with being a speech language pathologist,
Yep.
I don't know, and this is where I don't know that I'm faking it. I don't, but sometimes I'm like, I have so many communication breakdowns I'm like, I just can't believe anybody thinks that I can. I mean, I can't believe I know how to help people with their communication. It's because when I'm at work, I go by a formula when I'm at work. So, at work, it's like, okay, this is the information that gets applied. But in my own life, I have so many communication breakdowns. You would never know that that's what I help people with.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing though, right? Because that is kind of something you not necessarily want people to know about, because then you'll be the go-to girl like Chantel. When you know how to do all the stuff and people think you do, then you become the go-to person, right? Yeah. Chantel, what about you? If you took all your titles away, what would be something that people would not know about you?
I think what people don't know about me, just because I'm so structured and I got the employee, author, mom, this autism advocate, that I'm actually fun.
Oh,
yeah, all of that.
You are fun. We had a good time.
I'm actually fun, but I come off as just, business. But there's a party side to me too. I'm actually fun. So.
Well, good. Listen, I know that side of you, and I'm excited about it because we had ourselves a good old time.
We did.
We had a wonderful time. Man, y'all, tonight we have really been peeling back some real layers. But before we wrap it up, I want to loosen up things. I want to do a quick game. It's called Extra or Enough. And so what I'll do is I'm going to throw out a few scenarios. And what you'll do is you'll respond by saying extra or enough. Quick answers only, no explanations. And how we'll do it, if you feel like you want to answer extra to that, then you'll do your hands like this. If you want to say enough, you'll do the cross like this. Got it? So what are we doing for extra? Hands up. Hey, I'm extra. If it's enough, oh no. That's just doing too much. All right, so here we go. Here are the first thing. Wearing sunglasses indoors. That was literally on the list, y'all. Yeah. Sending yourself flowers. Sending yourself flowers. Yeah, I feel like that too. I don't think we have things that we do over the top enough for ourselves. Taking your laptop to a brunch event. That's over the top. That's just extra. Somebody just want to be seen, right?
I got it mixed up. I'm sorry. I meant the hands. That is it.
You meant the extra on that one? Okay, good.
I was like, no way I'm taking the laptop to the brunch.
All right. Hiring a professional photographer for a birthday dinner of a 88-year-old. Yeah, I think that's extra. I think that deserves extra, right? Oh, this is a good one. Reposting your own content 3 times a week.
You need to.
Yes, you need to. You should never be enough on that one. I don't do that one. All of us need to be doing that, right? Okay, here's another one. Traveling alone just to get content for your business. I think I'm doing that one too. Yeah. Gabby, you are definitely an introvert over there.
Oh. Okay.
All right. And then what about buying matching wine glasses for you and a friend?
Aww.
Aww.
Yeah.
Me too.
Wait, am I getting this wrong? I think I'm getting it wrong.
No, you're getting it right. It's okay. If you feel like it's like an extra thing, like you're over the top doing it, then yes. If it's something that would definitely be enough, you would do the X. Yeah, you did it right. I think you answered that one appropriately. I love it, guys. I know that even though we're laughing, it still says a lot about how each of us defines balance, confidence, and what makes us feel like we're doing too much. What makes us feel like our titles over who we are resonate with us. every label that we wear comes with a little pride, you know, a little pressure. But I feel like the moment we stop performing, no matter if it's a title or not, the moment we stop performing and we just start showing up as our authentic selves, that's when our titles and our lives become mashed together and authenticity happens. Um, when we say that we're going to be redefining our success and redefining our authenticity on our own terms, what would be the one thing that you feel like you would say that you could definitely say without a shadow of a doubt that is an authentic characteristic of yourself? Kristen?
I would say loyal.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No matter what you do, baby, loyalty is happening no matter what you do. It's kind of like who you are, right? Embedded in you. I love that. Shelby, what about you? What is one characteristic that you feel is authentic to you no matter what title you carry or who people think you are?
I think like genuinely caring.
Mm.
You know, maybe yeah. To where like if I'm doing something or listening or whatever, it's because I actually care. I'm not pretending.
I feel you on that. And based on all the titles that you carry, you definitely have to be authentic with caring, because it would show up in your work and definitely with your clients. What about you, Daryl? What's the one thing you feel like is authentic to who you are, but also resonates with your titles?
Integrity.
Ooh.
That's one. I don't want to say loyal again.
Well, that's okay though. I mean, that
But,
we already knew that
for
one
me,
about you
as
because
far
that
as
was what you started with.
kind of with what I do, I definitely try to move at a level of integrity. Whatever I'm doing, whatever if I'm putting on an event, or whether it's, I'm doing a photo shoot, there's a certain level of integrity and honor and respect I like to, So I'll just use one
Yeah.
integrity though. I think I threw out three right there, but just integrity.
Yeah, that's great. That's something that helps us cross over and mesh our titles and who we are together. Because, like you said, especially as a photographer, that's an intimate thing with people.
Right.
You have to be able to operate in integrity
Absolutely.
for people to trust you in order to get your title in to pay you. You feel me? So it's kind of a crossover. You have to have that characteristic to be able to operate in your title. Chantel, what about you? What's that one characteristic that's authentic to who you are, that not only who you are, but also complements your titles?
I'm going to say knowledgeable. I like to know what I'm talking about. And people typically know that about me without the titles, that she's going to know what she's talking about. So I'm going to go with knowledgeable.
Yeah, I kind of got that too, because you were like, oh, I'm not sure. What are the questions? What are the topics? I want to know about it. You understand? And listen.
Absolutely.
I am the same way. When I get with my producers, I'm like, listen, I need to be able to do some research so that I can guide the conversation, right? You understand what I'm saying? And they're like, JQue, everybody can talk about these kind of things. I'm like, yeah, but I need to know stuff. I want to know. I need to know stuff. So I connect with you. Yeah, on that knowledgeable thing. Knowing and understanding and having information makes me feel confident.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, Gabby, what about you? What's one characteristic that, resonates with your authenticity, but also complements your titles?
I think I would still say compassionate. Like, because I still put in this, like, this loving care I want to put into, like, when I write, like, I have a target audience in mind. I want to tell them, it's okay with a message to just being a wife and, just being a compassionate wife, loving my husband, and being a housewife, being compassionate, taking care of the house, taking care of the animals we have, all that stuff. So,
yeah, I think it takes compassion as well to be able to write like you write. Yeah. And again, being an introverted person, you definitely have to be compassionate with yourself more than any. Yeah, girl, you got to be compassionate with yourself. Kristen? Oh, you already said you're loyal, right? What about you? Did everybody tell me already?
Yeah, I was the last one.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, snap. Okay, so I'm going to say myself, the authentic characteristic of myself is synergy. I think I carry a synergy about myself when I'm with people or when I'm with myself. And y'all know it's so funny. I discovered that I had this synergy during COVID because I had to really connect with myself. There were no people. I could not interact with people. I could not get out and go. And during COVID, it really helped me connect with that characteristic that was super authentic to me, but that was also very complementary to those titles that I was holding. Y'all, this conversation tonight has been amazeballs. And I think that this conversation is really what the unlabeled and the unapologetic was about. When it boils down to it, it's really just about choosing to show up as yourself, even when there are no titles attached. I really appreciate all of you guests for showing up tonight. Thank you, the audience, for showing up tonight. It was such a pleasure having all of you in the room. And it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Hey! Conversation tonight reminded me that who we are, it's not defined by what we achieve. You know what I'm saying? It's not defined by the titles. It is a part of who we are, but it's defined by how we live it. It's defined by how we show up and how we stay true to ourselves. So everybody get their glass ready. If you enjoyed this episode tonight, please share it with someone who's learning to show up as their full self, not just as their resume or their titles or their achievements. And don't forget to like, share, and drop the thoughts in the comments. Keep the conversation going. You can find all the episodes of Healthy Living and Wine on YouTube and Facebook, and then you can tune in to hear them on Spotify. We're going to close out with allowing each one of my guests to share a moment or a reflection from tonight. And Kristen, we're going to start with you.
Oh, thank you guys. It was great to sit around and chat with you all and learn from you. I appreciate the evening.
Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate you. Gabrielle.
Yes, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun just talking about philosophy. I haven't been able to do that in a while, and just thinking again back to college senior year talking about labels. So.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Shelby, what about you?
Yes, it's been quite the topic of conversation lately amidst like me and my husband and some friends. And so it was really timely that this topic keeps showing up. And so I feel like I can really find the synchronicity in that and really learn something from everybody and their experiences. And I'm really glad I was here tonight and got to hear everybody.
Thank you so much, Shelby. Daryl?
But first of all, I just want to say thank you for the invite, JQue, and meeting everybody tonight as well. It was amazing. And for me, kind of like I said earlier, it was eye-opening to think about how many titles that we do carry and how they can, kind of guide us or kind of define us. So it's giving me something to really think about. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Chantel?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for pushing me to come on. I appreciate that. It was definitely eye-opening. I love the conversation between everybody. Everybody was really really knowledgeable and really forthcoming. So I love that. So thank you.
Thank you all for coming on tonight. Natasha was one of our listeners and someone that paid attention and tuned in for us tonight. And she said she loved the conversation. She loved the authenticity and the honesty tonight. And we love to hear that because conversations like this is what open us up for growth. And that's what we all need. You know, that level of trying to level up. Well, growth within ourselves is a great place to start for leveling up. So as we close out tonight, glasses up, and I'd love to say cheers. Cheers to peace over pressure, presence over performance, and being unapologetically you without labels, confidently and comfortably in your own skin. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and God bless. Toodles.